Casey. What's up? Cosmic Vinyl here. Brian from Cosmic Vinyl, that is. I'm back to do a quick vinyl finds. Got a few records to show here. Nothing really too earth-shattering, really. I mean, nothing that people haven't seen already. There's some, some icons in here, but they're pretty familiar. And I do got a couple of newer things here to show, but I'm just gonna kind of dive in and just let the cards fall where they may, so to speak. We'll go with that, huh? All right. First of all, I'm drinking a little Mountain Dew tonight out of my Jaws koozie, like that. Pretty cool. Cheers. Good and cold, tasty. Little Diet Dew. Right now, what we're listening to is this cool little record. This is Stranger Things soundtrack. I don't know if you guys caught that series on Netflix, but yeah, it's a pretty cool cover. It's a double album. It's got the gatefold has pictures of some scenes in the movie. It's mostly a compilation of like a lot of 80s songs. There's some stuff that goes back a little farther than that, but it's got like right now you're hearing Every Breath You Take by the Police. It's got some Clash, Hazy Shade of Winter, the Bangles, got some Echo and the Bunnymen, Duran Duran, Joy Division, Psychedelic Furs, got a little furs. You even got some Olivia Newton-John, Devo. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything's a little represented here. Also has between songs has little clips of dialogue from the show too. But yeah, there's the back. But yeah, I had a cool little pickup I got towards the end of the year last year. So that's what we're listening to in the background. Let's see. The first record that we got here is this is nothing. I'm sure everybody's seen this. This is the Byrds' greatest hits. This is just a really great record. I mean, this is basically your. I mean, if you want a compilation of the Byrds' early stuff, this is the one to get. Here's the cover. Cover's really kind of cool too. It's psychedelic. You got the, I always like David Crosby's hat right there, like a skin cap, and the flowers commingled in, and the trippy, like you're out there tripping in some meadow. But yeah, it's pretty cool. This was released in 1967. It's basically a compilation of their first 4 albums. This was the top-selling album of all the Byrds records, so there's something to be said about that, I guess. I don't know, to me it just perfectly captures the Byrds in their prime, so yeah, I had to pick it up, and you can get them pretty cheap, so, and this is also, during the tenure of David Crosby and Gene Clark, so yeah. But here's the back. You got the picture of the other 4 albums here. It's a little dirty, but like I said, I got it cheap, and the vinyl's killer. So there's the Byrds' greatest hits. So what else we got here? This is this second album by King Crimson. This is their second album. This is In the Wake of Poseidon. Of course, King Crimson as a prog rock group that had some McDonald and Giles and Lake of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Robert Fripp was also in this group too. So by this time, I believe McDonald and Giles had left the band, as well as Lake too. So, or did they? I mean, it's hard. As I was doing my background, looking up some background on it, it's hard to say because some of those guys did come back and perform on this record. So it's hard to say. Actually, at one point, I think they considered Elton John to do some vocals on this record too, but somehow that didn't work out. Like I said, you get a little bit of trivia or fun facts with the Cosmic Vinyl here. But yeah, it does have performances on here by some of the former members in the band, and it's kind of an interesting mix of songs. Here, I'll open this up, show you the gatefold here. Not much in there. I mean, it's just kind of trippy colors and like you're in the middle of some sort of acid-drenched brain or something. But it's got some lyrics in there and stuff. So, but yeah, there's like an a cappella song on here called It's Peace, a Beginning, and then there's a little jazz fusion with pictures of a city. Then there's an instrumental called Devil's Triangle, which is my favorite track off of this. This is a kind of a crazy cover too. It's got the 12 Faces of Humanity, I think it's called. And I'm not going to go into all 12 of the faces, but I'll open it up so you can see them all, though. But there you go. I mean, you could probably do a video on just going over the different faces on the album cover, but yeah, it's really colorful and cool. It's kind of got a textured cover, but yeah, decent enough. I'll listen to that. I mean, it's probably not going to be one of my favorites, but it's a pretty cool record. Not as good as the first one, but yeah, what can you do? Little Beatles here. Sgt Peppers Lonely Hearts Club Band. I mean, we all know what this is, but I just actually acquired this recently for a pretty decent price. So, yeah, with that iconic cover, right? I was able to get this from a friend of mine. It doesn't have the booklet in it, which I was kind of bummed about, but I do have my I have a bead on a booklet, so I'll soon have it. So not too worried about that. Look at that gatefold. That is just so great. You guys see that? I hope you can. But yeah, that's just a great gatefold. So colorful, and they almost look like they're happy there too, getting along. I'm sure not too long after that they weren't. But anyway, this is their 8th studio album. Again, 1967. That must have been a great year for music. Must have been a lot of experimentation and a lot of cool stuff. So a lot of, pioneer stuff and start exploring new frontiers in that era. So that's why I love that era of music so much. But this is lauded for its, of course, its innovations of production and songwriting, graphic design, and it was kind of the fusion of popular music and high art. It won 4 Grammys, including Best Rock Album, which, it was Album of the Year. I'm sorry, Album of the Year, which is the first time that a rock album had ever won that award. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal. It does, it's a little beat up, but man, the music in this album just makes me, I love listening to this album. It's just, makes me smile, and it's just I get a good feeling when I listen to it. Of course, by this time, all four of the guys in all four Beatles had taken acid by this time. I think Paul McCartney was the last one to have tried acid, so there was that influence on this. You know, I mean, acid, LSD, whatever. I don't know anything about that either. So, this in 1966, the Beatles had retired from touring. You know, they're just fed up with all the Beatlemania. You know, the touring, it was just a joke. You know, they were, by that time, they were kind of dialing it in. The fun had worn off. So now they could just concentrate on, you know, working in the studio and experimenting and doing what they wanted to do on record. Right here. Get a little dry sometimes. But you know, they also took on this. It was Paul's idea to take on this persona of a fictional band, so that they could just work outside of any constraints that they would have been working under as the Beatles, and you know, they really amped up their experimentation on songs like "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" and "Benefit for Mr. Kite" and "A Day in the Life." I mean, you can really tell that they were taking it a step further. By this time, the Beach Boys had come out with Pet Sounds, and also Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention had come out with Freak Out. So Paul was saying that this would be their Freak Out, you know. So yeah, God, there must have been just some great music going on around that time. You gotta love it. But they used lots of cool like instruments, like it had horns and the mellotron, and you know, of course, the double tracking, the overdubbing. By this time, George Harrison was playing the sitar, where he learned from Ravi Shankar, and they were changing the speeds of the tape and just trying all kinds of stuff, pulling out all the stops. But this basically is just a nice evolution from the Revolver album. So yeah. This is great. Just a great record. You know, the whole concept of this record was, you know, driven by Paul McCartney, and the others were reluctant to get on board with it. But you know, the fact that they were, you know, working in the studio and trying new things was what kind of was able to tip them in that direction. So. Anyway, you know, Sgt Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, everybody's got that, right? So, might as well stay with the Beatles theme here. I got, went from probably a happier time to a not so happy time. This album actually makes me sad, knowing that this was their last album, and after that, you know, this was released in, I believe it was 67. Or no, not 67. Jesus, I'm trying to get everything released in 67. This was in 1970, and they'd already been broken up for about a month when this was released. So this is their 20th album, their final album, and actually it was recorded prior to Abbey Road, but this is considered their final record, as it was released after Abbey Road. So. There was also a film of the same name, Let It Be, and it was basically documenting the recording of this album. What they didn't know, though, is they were actually documenting the breakup of an iconic band, because the constant bickering, McCartney was trying to rally the guys to you know, make it through the recording sessions and put together some good music, but they saw it more as him being controlling and overbearing. So yeah, it was a tough time for him, and of course that's you know, John Lennon had Yoko in there for all the recording sessions too, and you know there was that element of it, and you know it was really just it was the end. It was the end. But you know I'm glad that they were able to put this together. It was climaxed by they did a live performance on the roof of the Apple Studios. Which that's when I just love that little where they played those songs. It's just pretty cool. Good to see them one last time, you know, doing a live thing. Again, makes me sad to even talk about it, but this is a great record. I mean, it's got Across the Universe. I just love that song. I've Got a Feeling. That's one of the songs from the rooftop. Long and Winding Road, Get Back. I Let It Be, of course, the title track. This is an amazing record. Now some other records that everybody will recognize for sure. Let's see, this is the Led Zeppelin II, of course. Everybody knows Led Zeppelin II. Obviously, their second record, October of '69. It's a blues-derived style with a lot of cool guitar riff based. Probably maybe their heaviest album, and in my opinion, I'd say it's pretty heavy. This album always, as well as some of the other records released by Zeppelin, make a lot of the greatest albums of all time list. So, as well it should, because it's a killer record. They did a lot. All the writing on there's a pretty cool gatefold there. The Zeppelin and the they did a lot of the writing for this record while touring. So yeah, that was. I'm sure that they were very busy at that time. This sees actually the first time that Robert Plant is able to contribute as a songwriter. He wasn't able to on the first record due to his contract with CBS Records. So yeah, we're seeing him get more involved in the songwriting process. The standouts on this record obviously are Whole Lotta Love, Heartbreaker, Livin' Loving Maid, She's Just a Woman. My favorite of all time, probably my favorite Zeppelin song of all time is Ramble On. I just love that. It took me a long time to realize that it was actually like the J.R. Tolkien Hobbit had talked about that kind of stuff in it. But yeah, it's a great record. The album cover is one of Jimmy Page's a fellow art student of Jimmy Page did the album cover, and basically this is a cover taken from a World War I photo of a German Air Force group that I think the Red Baron might have been in the photo. What they did is they took the band's faces and pasted it over the pictures of the German pilots or the aces. And of course, none of these people are the actual people in the original picture, but and behind them was this warplane. Of course, you see the silhouette of the big Zeppelin there. But yeah, pretty cool. Wish I had the original picture to show you, but I don't. So anyway, that's Zeppelin II. Everybody knows that record. Moving right along to what's commonly called Zeppelin IV, or Zoso. This would be their fourth album. Released in '71, recorded between the dates of December '70 and February '71, obviously the big hit on this one is Stairway to Heaven, the favorite song of DJs to put on when they needed to go use the restroom and have a cigarette, due to the length of the song, obviously. But this is Zepp's best-selling album by far. And again, this record also regularly makes lists of the greatest albums of all time. Some even the top of the best record of all time. So songs like on it, like Black Dog and Stairway to Heaven, of course, those iconic songs. They actually opted not to have a title to this, considering that the Zeppelin III before this did not do so well, so they abandoned the idea of going with the number scheme. The title is actually, each member of the band had a, set that there, their own symbol. So this was Jimmy Page's symbol. I believe this was, oh, for crying out, Robert Plant's is this symbol. That's John Bonham's symbol right there, and that's John Paul Jones' symbol. But and then there's also another symbol. Oh, Sandy, one of the females that appears on there to sing vocals, Sandy Denny. That was her chosen symbol. So yeah, but it's got like Black Dog, Rockin'. I mean, every song on here is a killer tune. I love the font on the records, or on the lyrics from Stairway there. I just think that's cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, I gotta show you the gatefold, of course. The iconic gatefold with the wizard dude standing on the, or I guess the hermit or whatever he is, standing on a hill overlooking the village. What sort of curses he's probably raining down upon this hapless village. Who knows? I don't know what's going on. You can only speculate, right? I mean, this album was basically generated by Satan, and with all the backwards masking and stuff. So now I'm getting to probably my favorite record. Well, not quite. Let me I'm gonna pull a switch. The old switcheroo. This is an album that I recently acquired within probably the last week or so. This is the soundtrack for the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. This is great. There's some pictures from the movie inside there in the gatefold. Got the song list on the back. It's a beautiful record cover. I mean, that's the oh, I know his name is Malik. I just can't think of his last name. The guy that played Freddie Mercury did a superb job. If you have not seen this movie, you should check it out. I know that, you know, it's not accurate to a T, and the band members really weren't hung up on that. They put together a great story, and it tells basically what they needed to be told about Freddie's life and about Queen, and the music it's sensational. I seen Naz Nomad show this on a video the other day. It might have been just yesterday or the day before, and he gave it a good review as well. By the way, Naz Nomad is an amazing channel. He does a great job. I love David's channel, so I've been watching him for years. So it took me this long to even put a video where I could mention his name, give him a shout out. So, but anyway, yeah, this has got a lot of live stuff. This is Queen. It's all Queen. Does have a cut from the band Smile that had Brian May and oh, for crying out loud! I knew I'm gonna draw a blank here. I'm too old for this. Anyway, the two guys that early members of the band Queen that were in the band Smile. There's a cut by Smile on this. And there's also a lot of live music. There's the full Live Aid concert is on here, which is also considered one of the greatest live performances of all time. Also, some live at the Hammersmith Odeons, live Rock in Rio, live in Paris, live at the Rainbow. I mean, this is great. So if you want to listen to some great live Queen, this is superb, and it sounds great too. So now we're getting to the record that I actually was looking. One of my favorites, if not my favorite band of all time, is Blue Oyster Cult, and I just always loved that band since I was probably a junior in high school, and I just love the whole mystery and the occult and the whole, even the tongue-in-cheek humor of it all, and yeah, and the science fiction and just the whole thing is just a great package. Just love it. At one point, Blue Oyster Cult was the loudest band that ever toured. They actually had a Godzilla head on stage. Yeah, it was great. But anyway, I lost this record. This is Fire of Unknown Origin, and that is probably one of my favorite album covers of all time. I just absolutely love that artwork. At some point I will get a tattoo of probably this before it's all said and done. But I was going through my Blue Oyster Cult records and I couldn't find this. I know I had it. I also know I had a single, like a picture disc of this for Burning For You, and I just couldn't find it. So I had to got online and ordered a nice copy of this. But it's got a great, look at that inner sleeve. Of course, all the symbols and look at the scarab and the Blue Oyster Cult, the hooked cross. That's their symbol. They're holding the blue oysters. I mean, this is so cool. The songs for this record were actually recorded. It was supposed to be recorded for the soundtrack of the heavy metal soundtrack of the animated movie Heavy Metal, but then they only ended up using one song off of that, which was the Veterans of Psychic Wars, which is a killer song. That is, oh, there's my cat, which is like a heavy metal song. This is their 8th album. It's several songs, like I said, were intended for the heavy metal soundtrack, so they just used it to put together their own record, and I'm glad they did, because there's songs on here like Fire of Unknown Origin, Burning For You, which was probably their biggest hit besides Don't Fear the Reaper, Veterans of Psychic Wars, Vengeance the Pack, Joan Crawford. That's just a great song. This is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I know there's some other Blue Oyster Cult fans out there, but this is my favorite record. I'm so happy to have that back in the collection. But anyway, I know that was kind of probably a rough video to sit through, but I was not as prepared as I usually am, but I wanted to get another video out there. So I may even do another back-to-back video here. There's a channel out there that Chris has, The Spins, and he's got some kind of a 20-question thread that about covers, album covers, that I might throw together before I call it a day. So anyway, guys, thanks for putting up with this video, and hopefully there's something there that you guys can take a bite out of. And this is Brian from Cosmic Vinyl signing out. Have a nice night, guys.